Hey folks, high and low here. I'm doing a quick review of the Ganzo G801 survival knife. As far as I know, this is one of the first fixed blades by Ganzo, and I got this for $21, $22, $21.95 off Amazon. And I gotta say, it's a $22 knife, so there are some things that are going to bother people. There's some things about it that bother me, but overall, this thing is a steal and a half. There's a few things I wish they would change, but they're doing pretty good listening to folks and changing a few things about what folks had problems with. So, overall, the whole package from the butt end all the way out, it's about 11 3/4. Not quite a foot. So, yeah, just about 11 and a half, 11 3/4, somewhere around there. So, it's a pretty compact knife. It's not a gigantic knife by any stretch of the imagination. I'll go through the knife, and then I'll go through some of the stuff on the sheath, and we'll take a look at some of that stuff. So, overall, first impressions, it's a good stout knife. It's very thick. The blade spine is right about 5 centimeters. They're not joking. It's a thick, stout, solid blade. No wiggling at all. The first thing people ask is it a full tang? Well, let me put it this way. It's a full length tang in that the tang goes all the way back and secures to the butt here in the pommel, but it is not what I think most people consider a full tang. Some folks have called it a rat tail. It's not a rat tail tang. A rat tail tang goes way down here and just kind of terminates in a little tiny sort of point. It's more of what I would call, or what people call, a stick tang. So the portion inside the handle is about half as thick as or half as wide as the knife, and comes all the way back here, and is actually secured here on the pommel glass breaker. It's secured to the stick tang by a little screw that sort of sits in the metal. I wasn't going to take it apart because I never get these things back again, but that's the only thing that would concern me, is that there's a little pivot piece in here that this screws into that holds it into the handle, and that bothers me a little bit. But really comfortable knife, sort of a rubberized handle here, and hard plastic up here, rubberized on here. You may see some of the photos online where this color here is sort of an aged yellow, but it's not, as you can see on this video, with no flash work. With the flash, I think it kind of washes it out. It's sort of a brown, dirt brown. It does have these little glow-in-the-dark inserts here, which is kind of nice. If you drop it in the dark, you'll be able to find it. Real nice ergonomic handle. No jimping on the blade, but there's some little cutouts right here that help. But very, very comfortable. Very comfortable to hold. Get a good grip on it. It's got this nice rubberized handle. It does have a lanyard hole here in the back, which is kind of nice. It has a black coating over the top, which I know a lot of folks don't like, but you'll get a budget end, low end knife. You're going to get a black coating on it just because they don't want to take the time to finish the metal and make it look real nice. So if you look real close, you can kind of see some leftover tool markings and things right along here, some striations. You can see some tool marks, so that happens. That's why they give it that black coating. The black coating is not present right here on the back of the blade where they have the little fire symbol here. Okay, little fire symbol. That's supposedly where you use the knife to strike on your fire striker, which is good. I've seen people actually on videos use the blade, which just sends shivers down my spine when I see that. It's absolutely horrible. Just get a piece of hacksaw blade. Anyway, I'm going to go on a rant on that. But so they have a nice spot for you to use it on the spine, which is nice, so you don't dull the edge. Speaking of the edge, I'm not a person who needs a razor sharp edge on everything. Most of the time, the factory stuff is fine, but this is not very sharp. I'm going to have to do something about it. It's down here. It's it's kind of catching on my fingernail. I end up doing the old fingernail test. But for the most part, it's kind of sliding a little bit, you know. It's not shaving, it's kind of sliding here. So it is not, you know, super sharp. And I think I'm going to have to take it to some remedial edge workmanship on here. I'm not very good at sharpening knives, but... And you can kind of see here the grind. So I can get that focused on. See the grind here is... Oh, come on, give it to me. Nope. Are you going to focus? No, I'm not going to do it for me, sorry. The grind here is a little uneven on the base here. You can kind of see it starts a little bit higher up here. So there's, you know, it's a $22 knife. It doesn't say it, but the company has assured everyone that it is 440C steel, and Ganzo makes a lot of 440C knives, so I believe it. I've read some other things about folks trying to sharpen it, and it's a pretty tough steel, so, you know, I believe it's 440C. I'm going to do a field test with it later, and we'll find out. But, you know, nice thick blade, short stubby blade on there. It does have this pommel here if you want to hit things with it. Last resort, you know, hammer type thing, glass breaker. But all in all, you know, really for $21 you can't complain, and even probably for $30 or $40 or $50, $60, probably over 60, people would start getting a little complaining about a few of the smaller things maybe, but you know, comfortable, ergonomic, you know, nice grip to it. Again, the edge could be better, but sometimes that's just a quality control issue. Maybe you'll get one that's a little bit nicer, but mine's pretty dull. I'm gonna have to work on that a little bit, see what I can do with it. So for the sheath, something that bothers a lot of folks, people want to have nice sheaths. They did a pretty good job with the sheath. I'll show you how the knife locks in here, and you can listen to that. I mean, it locks in nice and solid, and then it's got a little Velcro here. So this thing's, you know, it's not going anywhere. It's in there nice and solid. The Velcro is a nice little added safety measure, but it's a good fit and finish. The sheath is made out of the same kind of rubberized material as the knife is, so you get a real good grip on the sheath. They didn't put any glow-in-the-dark stuff on the sheath, which would have been nice. It does have this fire starter in here, which is really in there really well. And I've seen people throw sparks with it. I haven't done that yet. I'll do that later when I field test it. But it is in there. It is in there upside down, but it's not going anywhere. It's a short little fire starter, so again, kind of a backup. Not what I would use as my first fire methodology, but oh man, I mean, it's in there. You gotta really work to get it back in. So that's not coming out. It does have a little hole drilled in here. You can see that. So if you get water in there, the water will run out, which is kind of nice. It does have this little slicer in here. You know, they call it a seatbelt cutter, or you can cut paracord with it. It's dual edged, so there's a blade up here and a blade down there. You can see that, 2 blades. I'm not a big fan of this thing. I don't quite understand how that would work. If it's a seatbelt cutter, unless you're cutting someone else out of a seatbelt, I guess that makes sense. You could use it, you know, or even maybe you couldn't. You know, it's on your belt. Think about this. If you're wearing it on your belt, how on earth are you going to be able to get this around a seatbelt? You know, some people use it for, say they use it for cutting paracord, but again, if it's on your belt, how are you going to get to it unless you have it mounted, you know, mounted sideways on your belt like that? You could still kind of get to it, but again, it's going to be up against your body. I don't know. You know, they put it in there as something. I would actually prefer if they just got rid of it and you had a shorter overall knife and sheath, because then it'd be really nice and compact, because it's, you know, the blade only comes down to here, and if they got rid of this extra 1.5 to 2 inches, you'd have a really nice compact little sheath and knife combo. So that would be my preference, but it's there. You know, you could find a use for it. I'll try and test it later when I do the field testing on it. It has a diamond sharpener on the back here. Again, this would be kind of my last resort sharpener, but people were complaining that it would rub against their pants and scuff their pants up and everything and get caught on stuff. So Ganzo sent you a nice little piece of piece of Velcro, so you don't have to do it yourself. But basically, the Velcro just covers that up, and then it doesn't catch on your pants and create a nuisance. So that's nice. You know, it's great. Again, with the fire starter, not my primary. With this thing, not really what I want, but you could find a use for it. With this sharpener, not really, you know, what I would use to sharpen my knives on a daily basis. But it's nice to have in a bug out bag, just so you at least have a sharpener. You know, it's just bolted on there. The nylon belt loop is actually pretty sturdy. You know, it feels nice and sturdy on there. Feels like it's pretty good. You got to slide your belt through there. It won't hook on top of your belt. So again, if it had a belt hook, I could see the use for the seatbelt cutter, because you could just unhook it and cut a seatbelt, or, you know, cut yourself out or cut somebody else out of a seatbelt. Or if you were doing a lot of, you know, cutting rope and stuff, you could have it clipped onto your belt and then clip it off and use it, rather than, I mean, this thing, once this is on your belt, it's not coming off unless you take your belt off. So, which brings me to another one of my gripes about this. This nylon plastic reinforced, there's got to be some plastic in there somewhere, because it feels like it. It's just bolted onto, or sorry, just screwed onto this plastic sheath here with some, almost look like wood screws. I haven't taken it apart because I'm concerned that it'll be all stripped and we'll be able to get back together. But you can see, maybe not black on black here, but, you know, they're not even really flush in there. They're kind of just jammed in there. So I don't know how. I mean, it feels nice and sturdy. You know, it's screwed on there, but it, you know, I mean, they're going to cut corners somewhere, so they just screwed this in. So that's a little cheap. I'm a little concerned about that, but, you know, again, it's $22. What are you going to do? There's going to be some things that you don't like about it. I was debating about getting another one of these, but man, they got wiped out clean. I was looking on Amazon for them, which is where I got the first one from Amazon, and the folks at Ace Knife, and, you know, they were gone within a week and haven't been back. I think they just got back up recently, but they went fast. You know, it's a good knife, I think. It's nice and sturdy, good solid shape. You know, highly recommend this one, but again, I'm going to have to sharpen this, and this is, you know, I don't like sharpening my knives because I'm not very good at it. It's really kind of an art form, so I'm going to have to, you know, luckily it's $22, so if I completely botch it, I guess I could just get another one, but I'd rather not. So overall, Ganzo 801, as far as I know, one of Ganzo's first forays into the fixed knife realm, and honestly, I think they did a real good job. You know, it's honestly, we all know what it is. It's sort of a StatGear clone, but you know, it is what it is. Good knife. Thanks for watching, and by all means, let me know what you think if you want. Thank you very much.